It's 1 in the morning, and I'm elbow deep in the guts of my '92 Camaro when Lila's phone lights up on my workbench. The notification sound cuts through the garage like a knife through butter, and I can see the preview text clear as day. Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow, baby. Mike. My name is Jack Morrison, and I've been married to Lila for 22 years. I own Morrison's Auto Restoration here in Edgewater Crossing, a town where everybody knows your business before you do. Tonight, apparently, I'm learning mine. I set down my wrench and stare at that phone like it's a rattlesnake. Another message pops up. Tell Jack you're working late again. Room 237, same as always. Well, isn't that just perfect? I've always prided myself on being observant. You don't survive in the auto repair business without noticing when something's off. A slight vibration in the steering wheel, an unusual sound in the engine, the way a customer avoids eye contact when they lie about how the damage happened. But somehow I missed the signs that my wife was having an affair with Mike Patterson, her colleague at Hartwell Associates PR firm. Mike Patterson. The guy drives a BMW that costs more than I make in 2 years. The guy who shows up to neighborhood barbecues wearing designer polo shirts and talking about his golf handicap. The guy who always seemed just a little too interested in asking about Lila when she wasn't around. I pick up her phone. No password protection because we trust each other completely, as she always says. The irony tastes bitter in my mouth. The message thread goes back months. Months of planning secret meetings, comparing schedules, making excuses. There are photos too, nothing too explicit, but enough to make my stomach turn. Hotel receipts forwarded as images, restaurant reservations at places I've never been able to afford. Dad, what are you doing up so late? I turn around to see Jessica, our 19-year-old daughter, standing in the garage doorway. She's home from State University for the weekend, and she's got that look on her face, the one that says she already knows more than she's letting on. Just working on the car, Jess. Couldn't sleep. She glances at the phone in my hands, then at me. Mom's phone? She left it out here earlier. Jessica crosses her arms and leans against the doorframe. She's got her mother's sharp eyes and her mother's talent for reading people. You found out, didn't you? The question hits me like a punch to the gut. Found out what? About Mom and Mike. God, Dad, everyone knows. Mrs. Krause next door has been talking about it for weeks. She saw them at the Marriott downtown. Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Everyone knows. The phrase echoes in my head like a bad song on repeat. Everyone knows except the husband. Classic. How long have you known? I ask. Since Christmas. I saw them together at the mall when I was shopping with friends. They were... She pauses, looking uncomfortable. They weren't exactly being subtle. Christmas was 4 months ago. 4 months of family dinners where Lila complained about my table manners. 4 months of her working late 3 nights a week. 4 months of her suddenly caring about her appearance again, buying new clothes, getting her hair done at expensive salons. Why didn't you tell me? Jessica shifts her weight from one foot to the other. I don't know. I guess I thought you already knew and just didn't want to talk about it. And honestly, Mike's actually pretty cool. He's been helping Mom with her career, getting her better clients, bigger accounts. He treats her like she deserves to be treated. The implication hangs in the air like exhaust fumes. Unlike me, she means. Unlike her father who works with his hands and comes home dirty and tired every day. Your mother deserves better than someone who lies and sneaks around behind her family's back, I say. She deserves better than someone who's given up on life, Jessica shoots back. When's the last time you took her anywhere nice? When's the last time you bought her flowers or planned a surprise? Mike does those things. With my wife, using money from his fancy PR job to romance my wife while I'm here trying to keep my business afloat and the bills paid. Go to bed, Jess. Dad, I'm just saying. Go to bed. She huffs and storms back into the house, her footsteps heavy on the wooden stairs leading to her room. I'm alone again with the phone and the weight of what I've discovered. I scroll through more messages. They've been planning a weekend getaway to some lakeside cabin. They've been talking about what it would be like if they could be together for real. Mike's been telling her she should leave me, that she deserves someone who can give her the life she wants. The garage feels smaller suddenly, cramped and cluttered with the remnants of other people's automotive mistakes. This is my kingdom. A concrete floor stained with decades of oil, walls lined with tools and parts, the smell of metal and grease and honest work. But looking at it through Lila's eyes, through Mike's eyes, through my own daughter's eyes, I see what they see. A man who peaked in high school and never had the ambition to climb any higher. I was good at boxing once. made it to the state finals as a light heavyweight when I was 17. Ray Kowalski, who owns the gym downtown and tends bar at the Crow's Nest, still tells people I could have gone professional if I'd wanted to, but I didn't want to. I wanted to marry Lila Chen, the prettiest girl in school, and I wanted to work with cars because I understood them. Cars don't lie to you. When something's wrong, they tell you straight up. People are more complicated. I hear the front door open and close. Lila's home from her late meeting. It's almost 2 a.m. now, some meeting. Her heels click across the kitchen floor above me. She's trying to be quiet, but the old house betrays every step. I hear the refrigerator open, the soft pop of a wine bottle being uncorked. She's having a nightcap to celebrate another successful evening of deception. I should confront her right now, march upstairs, throw the phone on the kitchen table, and demand an explanation, but something stops me. Maybe it's the look on Jessica's face when she defended Mike. Maybe it's the realization that this has been going on for months and I never noticed. Maybe it's the growing certainty that if I confront her now, she'll just lie to my face and I'll be right back where I started. No, if Lila wants to play games, I can play games too. But we're going to play by my rules. I spend the next hour reading through every message, every photo, every piece of evidence of their affair. I take screenshots with my own phone, making sure to capture dates and times. I'm not a lawyer, but I know documentation matters. By 3 a.m, I have a pretty complete picture of what's been happening. The affair started last October when Mike joined Lila's team at the PR firm. He pursued her aggressively, sending flowers to the office, taking her to expensive lunches, complimenting her intelligence and ambition. Lila resisted at first. I can see that in the early messages. But Mike was persistent. He told her she was wasting her potential being married to a small-town mechanic. He painted pictures of the life they could have together, the places they could travel, the social circles they could move in. He made her feel like she was settling for less than she deserved. And maybe she was. Maybe I'm exactly what Mike says I am. A small-town mechanic with small-town dreams and nothing much to offer a woman who wants more from life. But I'm also a man who's been lied to and betrayed by the 2 people who should have been honest with me. My wife and my daughter both knew what was happening, and both chose to protect Mike instead of me. That's going to change. I turn off the lights in the garage and head upstairs. Lila's already in bed, pretending to be asleep. I can tell she's pretending because her breathing is too controlled, too even. When she really sleeps, she snores softly. I brush my teeth and get ready for bed like it's any other night. When I slide under the covers, she stirs slightly and murmurs something that might be good night or might be Mike. Hard to tell. Tomorrow, the real show begins. I wake up before dawn, which is nothing new. The difference is that today I wake up with a plan. Lila's still asleep when I get up, shower, and head downstairs to make coffee. I leave her phone on the kitchen counter where she'll find it, right next to a note written on the back of an old receipt. I know everything. Welcome to my game, Jack. I'm sitting in my truck in the driveway when she finds it. Through the kitchen window, I can see her read the note, then frantically check her phone. She tries calling me, but I let it go to voicemail. Then she tries texting. Jack, we need to talk. This isn't what you think. I text back. Room 237, Marriott, downtown. Same as always. Ring any bells? She doesn't respond to that one. My first stop is Ray's gym. It's barely 6 a.m, but Ray's always there early, setting up for the day. He's in his 60s now, a former Golden Gloves champion who never lost his taste for a good fight. His gym is old school. Heavy bags, speed bags, a ring that's seen better days, and no fancy equipment. Just the basics for people who are serious about the sport. Jack. Ray looks up from the heavy bag he's adjusting. Haven't seen you in here for a while. What brings you by so early? Need some advice, Ray, and maybe some training. He raises an eyebrow. Ray's got the kind of face that's seen everything and isn't easily surprised, but something in my tone gets his attention. What kind of advice? I tell him everything. The affair, the messages, Jessica's reaction, the whole mess. Ray listens without interrupting, occasionally nodding or grunting in understanding. So what do you want to do about it? He asks when I finish. I want to make them regret it, all of them. Lila, Mike, even Jessica, if she keeps taking their side. I want them to understand that actions have consequences. Ray walks over to the coffee pot and pours 2 cups, handing me one. You know, when I was boxing professionally, I learned something important about fighting. The guy who loses his temper first usually loses the fight. The guy who stays calm, who thinks strategically, who waits for the right opening, that's the guy who wins. I'm not looking to literally fight Mike, Ray. I know that. I'm talking about a different kind of fight. You want revenge? Fine. But you need to be smart about it. You need to think 3 moves ahead, like chess. What do you suggest? Ray grins, and for a moment I can see the fighter he used to be. First rule of strategy: know your enemy. You know about the affair, but what else do you know about Mike Patterson? What are his weaknesses? What's he afraid of? I don't know. He seems pretty confident about everything. Everyone's got something they're afraid of losing. Find out what that is for Mike. Same with your wife. What does she care about most? Her reputation, her career. She's always been obsessed with what people think of her. There you go. That's her weakness. Now what about Mike? I think about what I know of Mike Patterson. He drives expensive cars, wears expensive clothes, lives in a fancy apartment downtown. He's never been married, as far as I know, but he's always got some attractive woman on his arm at social events. I think he's afraid of looking foolish. He's got this image of himself as this successful, sophisticated guy. He probably wouldn't want people to know he's sleeping with married women. Good. Now you're thinking like a fighter. You don't go straight for the knockout punch. You work the body first, wear them down, make them make mistakes. Ray's right. If I confront them directly, they'll just circle the wagons and paint me as the crazy, jealous husband. But if I'm strategic about it, if I make them come to me, there's something else you should know, Ray says. Mike Patterson comes in here sometimes, usually late at night when he thinks no one will see him. He's not much of a fighter, but he likes to hit the heavy bag and pretend he's tough. What do you mean when he thinks no one will see him? I mean, he doesn't want his fancy friends to know he comes to a place like this. Doesn't fit his image, I guess. He usually parks around back and comes in through the rear entrance. Interesting. Mike has secrets too. I spend an hour working out, hitting the heavy bag and thinking through possibilities. By the time I leave Ray's gym, I have the beginnings of a plan. My next stop is the auto shop. I've got 3 cars to work on today, including Mrs. Henderson's ancient Buick that's been making a grinding noise she describes as like a coffee grinder full of rocks. Normal problems with normal solutions, the kind of problems I'm good at solving. Around 10 o'clock, Lila shows up. She's dressed for work, a sharp business suit that probably cost more than most people make in a week, her hair perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. She looks like success, like ambition, like everything I'm not. We need to talk, she says without preamble. I don't look up from Mrs. Henderson's engine. I'm working. Jack, please, this is important. More important than the last 4 months when you were lying to my face every day? She's quiet for a moment. When I finally look at her, she's got tears in her eyes. Real ones, as far as I can tell. I never meant for this to happen, she says. It started as friendship, and then it became something more, and before you knew it, you were planning weekend getaways and talking about leaving me. Her face goes pale. You read everything. Everything, including the part where Mike thinks I'm a small-town loser who's holding you back from your potential, including the part where you agreed with him. I never said that. You didn't have to. Your silence said it for you. Lila steps closer, and I can smell her perfume. Something new and expensive that I've never noticed before. Something Mike probably bought her. Jack, I know I've hurt you. I know I've made mistakes, but we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can what? Pretend the last 4 months didn't happen? Pretend you haven't been comparing me to your lover every time you look at me? Pretend our daughter doesn't think I'm a disappointment? Jessica doesn't think that. She told me last night that Mike treats you like you deserve to be treated. Unlike me, apparently. Lila closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. She's young. She doesn't understand the complexities of marriage. The complexities of marriage? Is that what we're calling adultery now? Don't be crude, Jack. Crude? You want to see crude? I slam the hood of Mrs. Henderson's Buick hard enough to make Lila jump. Crude is reading messages where my wife describes intimate details about her lover. Crude is finding out from my 19-year-old daughter that the whole neighborhood knows what's going on. Crude is realizing that everyone I know has been looking at me with pity for months. I'm sorry, she whispers. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. She tries a different approach. What do you want me to do? I'll end it with Mike. I'll quit my job if I have to. We can start over. You'll end it with Mike? Just like that? Yes. And what happens when the next Mike comes along? What happens when you get bored with small-town life again? There won't be a next time. I laugh, and the sound surprises both of us. It's not a pleasant laugh. It's the kind of laugh you hear in movies right before everything goes very wrong. You're right, I say. There won't be a next time, because I'm done. What does that mean? It means the game has changed, Lila. It means you made your choice, and now you get to live with the consequences. Are you threatening me? I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just telling you that the old Jack, the one who worked late every night to pay for your expensive tastes, the one who never questioned where you were or what you were doing, the one who let you and Jessica treat him like he was lucky to have you, that Jack is gone? She stares at me for a long moment. What happened to you? I woke up. After she leaves, I call my lawyer. Well, not my lawyer exactly. I've never needed one before. But Tommy Brennan went to high school with me, and now he handles divorces and small business issues here in town. He's not fancy like the lawyers Lila's PR firm probably uses, but he's honest, and he knows the local judges. Jack Morrison, Tommy says when his secretary puts me through. Haven't heard from you in years. What can I do for you? I need to know about divorce law in this state, specifically about adultery and how it affects property division. There's a pause. I'm sorry to hear that, Jack. You and Lila having problems? You could say that. Why don't you come in this afternoon? We can talk through your options. What I really need to know right now is whether I can legally move money out of our joint accounts. That's complicated. Technically, if your name is on the account, you have every right to access the funds. But if you're planning to file for divorce, there are strategic considerations. I'm not planning to file for divorce, Tommy. I'm planning something else entirely. What kind of something else? The kind where everyone gets exactly what they deserve. After I hang up with Tommy, I sit in my office and think about Ray's advice. Know your enemy, find their weaknesses, work the body before going for the knockout. Mike Patterson's weakness is his image. He spent years building a reputation as a successful, sophisticated man about town. He wouldn't want people to know he's the kind of guy who pursues married women. Lila's weakness is her reputation too, but it's more specific than that. She's built her career on being trustworthy, on managing other people's public images. If her own personal life became public scandal, it would destroy her credibility with clients. Jessica's weakness is harder to identify. She's young, idealistic, and she's chosen sides without really understanding the situation. But she cares about her social media presence, her image with her college friends. She's posted dozens of photos over the years, talking about how much she loves her family, how proud she is of her parents. The more I think about it, the more I realize that all three of them have the same fundamental weakness. They care too much about what other people think of them. That's something I can work with. I spend the rest of the day working on cars and thinking through possibilities. By closing time, I have the outline of a plan that would make Ray proud. It's not about confrontation or dramatic gestures. It's about patience, strategy, and letting my enemies defeat themselves. The first phase starts tonight. Mrs. Krause is watering her garden when I get home from work, which is perfect timing. Eleanor Krause is 73 years old, has lived next door for 15 years, and knows more about what happens in this neighborhood than the FBI. She's also got a soft spot for me because I fix her ancient Lincoln Continental for free whenever it breaks down. Evening, Mrs. Krause, I call over the fence. Oh, hello, Jack. How are you holding up, dear? The question confirms what I already suspected. She knows about Lila and Mike, and she's been waiting for me to acknowledge it. I'm doing fine, just taking things one day at a time. She nods knowingly. That's very mature of you. Some men would have caused a scene by now. I'm not really the scene-causing type. No, you're not. You're a good man, Jack Morrison. Too good, if you ask me. She pauses in her watering. That Mike Patterson, though, he's been coming around here quite a bit lately. Has he? Oh, yes. Usually when you're at work. Sometimes he parks right in your driveway, bold as you please. No shame at all. This is exactly the kind of information I was hoping for. I appreciate you telling me, Mrs. Krause. Well, someone should. I tried talking to Lila about it, Told her people were starting to notice. But she just got all huffy and said I should mind my own business. What did you say to that? I told her that when someone parks in my neighbor's driveway to carry on with his wife, it becomes my business. I told her she ought to be ashamed of herself. Mrs. Krause has never been one to sugarcoat her opinions. Has anyone else in the neighborhood noticed? Oh, honey, everyone's noticed. The Hendersons, the Kowalskis, that young couple with the baby who moved in last month. We've all been wondering when you were going to find out. She gives me a sympathetic look. I'm sorry you had to find out at all. Don't be sorry, Mrs. Krause. I'd rather know the truth. What are you going to do about it? I'm still figuring that out. She nods approvingly. Good. Don't do anything rash. Men like Mike Patterson, they think they can take whatever they want without consequences. But consequences always catch up eventually. Yes, they do. Inside the house, I can hear Lila on the phone in the kitchen. She's speaking in low, urgent tones, probably talking to Mike about our conversation this morning. Jessica is in the living room watching something on her laptop, earbuds in, ignoring the world. I head straight to my home office, a small room off the garage that I use for bookkeeping and ordering parts. It's not much. A desk, a filing cabinet, a computer that's older than Jessica, but it's mine. I boot up the computer and start researching Mike Patterson. It doesn't take long to find his social media profiles. Mike's not shy about documenting his life online. There are photos of him at expensive restaurants, at charity galas, at golf tournaments. He likes to project an image of success and sophistication. But as I dig deeper, I start to notice some interesting details. Mike's LinkedIn profile shows he's only been at Hartwell Associates for 8 months. Before that, he worked at a PR firm in Chicago. Before that, another firm in Milwaukee. Before that, one in Minneapolis. He moves around a lot for someone who's supposedly successful. I start searching for news articles about the firms where he used to work. It takes some digging, but eventually I find what I'm looking for. A brief mention in a Chicago Business Journal about personnel changes at Brennan and Associates PR, the firm where Mike worked before coming here. The article doesn't give details, but it mentions that several employees were let go following an internal investigation. The timeline matches Mike's departure from Chicago. I make a note to follow up on this tomorrow. If Mike left his previous job under questionable circumstances, that's information I can use. Next, I start researching Hartwell Associates itself. It's a mid-sized PR firm with a decent reputation and some high-profile clients. Lila's been working there for 3 years, and according to the company website, she's a senior account manager specializing in crisis management. The irony is not lost on me. I'm about to dig deeper when I hear footsteps in the hallway. Lila appears in the doorway, still in her work clothes, but looking tired and stressed. "What are you doing?" she asks. "Research." "Research on what?" "Mike Patterson's employment history. Did you know he's worked for 4 different PR firms in the last 5 years?" Her face goes pale. That's not unusual in our industry. People move around to advance their careers. People also move around when they get fired for inappropriate conduct. Mike wasn't fired. He told me he left Chicago because he wanted a change of pace. I'm sure he did tell you that. She steps into the room. "Jack, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you planning to try to get Mike fired? Because that won't change anything between us." "Won't it?" "No. Even if Mike weren't in the picture, we'd still have the same problems we've always had." "Which are?" She sighs and sits down in the old chair across from my desk. "We want different things, Jack. We always have. I want to travel, to experience new things, to be part of something bigger than this town. You want to stay here forever, working on cars, never taking any risks." "I took a risk when I started this business." "That was 20 years ago. What have you done since then? What dreams have you pursued? What goals have you set for yourself?" "I've been supporting my family. I've been paying the mortgage and the car payments and Jessica's college tuition. And I appreciate that. But there's more to life than just paying bills and getting by. There's also more to life than chasing after whatever makes you feel excited this week." We stare at each other across the small room. This might be the most honest conversation we've had in years. "I'm not happy, Jack," she says quietly. "I haven't been happy for a long time." "So you decided to have an affair instead of talking to me about it." "I tried talking to you. Remember last year when I suggested we take a vacation to Europe? You said we couldn't afford it. Remember when I wanted to take that photography class? You said it was a waste of money. Remember when I suggested we go to counseling? You said we didn't need it." She's right about all of those things, and we both know it. "So this is my fault?" "It's not about fault, Jack. It's about compatibility. We've grown into different people who want different things." "And Mike wants the same things you want?" "Yes." "Like what?" "Like experiences, like adventure, like feeling alive instead of just existing." "And you can't feel alive with me?" She doesn't answer, which is an answer in itself. "I see," I say. "Well, thank you for being honest." "What does that mean?" "It means now I know exactly where we stand." She studies my face, trying to read my expression. "What are you planning, Jack?" "I'm planning to give everyone exactly what they want." "I don't understand." "You want excitement and adventure and to feel alive? Mike wants to be with you without having to sneak around. Jessica wants a father she can be proud of?" "Yes." "Then that's what you'll get." I turn back to the computer screen, dismissing her. After a moment, she gets up and leaves. I spend another hour researching before I find what I'm really looking for. Tracy Velasquez, Mike's ex-girlfriend from Chicago. According to her Facebook profile, she's a marketing coordinator at a nonprofit organization. More importantly, she's recently posted several bitter comments about lying, cheating men who think they can use women and throw them away. The posts are from 3 weeks ago, right around the time Mike would have been telling Lila how much he cared about her and wanted to build a future together. I send Tracy a private message. Hi, Tracy. I know this might seem strange, but I think we have a mutual acquaintance in Mike Patterson. I'd like to talk to you about him if you have a few minutes. It's important. She responds within an hour. Are you another one of his victims? Something like that. Call me tomorrow evening. I get off work at 6 Central Time. I save her number and close the computer. Phase 1 of the plan is coming together nicely. The next morning, I wake up early again and head to Ray's gym. This time, I'm not just there to talk strategy. I'm there to start getting back in shape. If this plan is going to work, I need to be physically and mentally prepared for whatever comes next. Ray has me start with basic conditioning, jumping rope, sit-ups, push-ups, light bag work. I'm more out of shape than I thought. After 20 minutes, I'm breathing hard and sweating through my shirt. You're not 25 anymore, Ray observes. Thanks for the reminder. But you've still got good form, muscle memory's still there. Give me a couple weeks and you'll be back to fighting weight. I'm not planning to actually fight anyone, Ray. No, but you're planning to go to war. Same thing, really. You need to be strong, both physically and mentally. He's right. For too long, I've been coasting, accepting whatever life handed me without fighting back. That version of me let his wife have an affair for months without noticing. That version of me raised a daughter who thinks he's a disappointment. That version of me is gone. After the gym, I head to work and call Tommy Brennan. I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday, Tommy says. If you're serious about not wanting a traditional divorce, what exactly are you considering? I want to make sure that when this is all over, everyone understands the consequences of their choices. Lila chose to have an affair instead of working on our marriage. Mike chose to pursue a married woman. Jessica chose to take their side without knowing all the facts. And you want them to face social consequences rather than legal ones? I want them to face the truth, in public, where everyone can see who they really are. Jack, be very careful here. There are laws about harassment, about invasion of privacy, about... I'm not planning to break any laws, Tommy. I'm just planning to make sure the truth comes out. Whose truth? The only truth that matters. What actually happened? There's a long pause. You know, in my experience, public humiliation campaigns usually backfire. They make the person doing the humiliating look vindictive and unstable. Not if they're done right. And you think you know how to do it right? I think I know how to let people destroy themselves. That evening, I call Tracy Velasquez. So you're Mike's latest victim's husband, she says without preamble. I wondered when someone would call me. Latest victim? Oh, honey, you don't know the half of it. Mike Patterson has a type. Married women with something to lose. He gets off on the power dynamic. What do you mean? I mean he specifically targets women who are married to men he considers beneath him. Blue-collar guys, small business owners, teachers, cops. He likes feeling superior. My grip tightens on the phone. How do you know this? Because he told me. He bragged about it. Said it was easy because these women were all starved for attention from a real man. Her voice is bitter. I thought I was different because I wasn't married, but it turns out I was just practice. Practice for what? For his real hobby, breaking up marriages. He keeps trophies. What kind of trophies? Photos, wedding rings, personal items from the women. He's got a whole collection. The room seems to spin around me. Are you sure about this? I lived with him for 6 months, honey. I saw the collection myself. He's got stuff from at least a dozen different women. Did you report this to anyone? Report what? Being a manipulative creep isn't illegal. But I did warn his boss at the PR firm in Chicago. What happened? They quietly let him go rather than deal with the scandal. Gave him a good reference in exchange for his promise to leave town and not cause any trouble. And now he's here. And now he's there, doing the same thing to your wife that he did to all the others. After I hang up with Tracy, I sit in my office staring at the wall. Everything I thought I knew about the situation has changed. This isn't just about Lila being unhappy in our marriage. This isn't even about Mike being attracted to her. This is about Mike Patterson being a predator who specifically targets marriages like mine for his own twisted entertainment. And that changes everything. I don't sleep much that night. Instead, I lie in bed next to my wife, who's been pretending to sleep since I came upstairs, and think about everything Tracy told me. Mike Patterson isn't just having an affair with Lila. He's running a con game, and she's the mark. The question is, does she know it? At 5 a.m, I give up on sleep and head downstairs to make coffee. Lila's phone is charging on the counter, full of missed messages from Mike. Jessica comes down, dressed for her run. You're up early, she says. Couldn't sleep. Before leaving, she asks, "Are you and Mom getting divorced?" "Would it bother you?" "I don't know. Maybe it'd be better. You're both miserable." "And you think she'd be happier with Mike?" "At least he appreciates her." When Lila finally comes downstairs, she says, "We need to talk." She asks what I want. An apology, promises. "I want you to understand what you've gotten into," I tell her. "Mike Patterson isn't who you think he is. He's done this before. Married women, affairs, then gone." She doesn't believe me until I give her a number. Even then, she says, "Our marriage was already in trouble." "No, it just means you thought Mike cared. He doesn't. He cares about winning." She shakes her head. "Even if you're right, this isn't about him. It's about us not working anymore." "You're right," I say. "We don't, but not for the reasons you think." She lists every time I dismissed her, and she's right. "So you solved it by having an affair?" "I found someone who wanted to be with me." "And you think he really does?" "I think you're jealous." "I'm not trying to win you back, Lila." Her expression hardens. "So that's it? You're giving up?" "I'm accepting reality. You don't want to be married to me. You want excitement and someone who makes you feel special." "Yes, I do." "Then go get it. But understand that there are consequences for choices. You chose to lie to me for months instead of being honest about what you wanted. You chose to involve our daughter in your deception. You chose to make me look like a fool in front of the entire neighborhood. I never meant for any of that to happen. But it did happen, and now everyone gets to live with the results." I stand up and head for the door. "Where are you going?" she asks. "To work. Some of us still have responsibilities." But I don't go straight to work. Instead, I drive to the Marriott downtown and park across the street. At exactly 9:15, Mike Patterson's BMW pulls into the parking lot. He's not alone. The woman with him isn't Lila. She's younger, probably in her late 20s, with dark hair and an expensive-looking outfit. They walk into the hotel together, his hand on her back in a gesture that's both possessive and casual. I wait. 20 minutes later, they come back out, but now they're arguing about something. I can't hear what they're saying, but their body language tells the story. She's angry, gesturing with her hands. He's trying to calm her down, looking around to make sure no one's watching. They are being watched, though. By me, and by the camera on my phone that's recording everything. The woman gets into a red Lexus and drives away, tires squealing slightly as she leaves the parking lot. Mike stands there for a moment, running his hands through his hair, then gets back in his BMW. I follow him. He drives to Hartwell Associates, the PR firm where he and Lila work. I park down the street and watch as he goes inside. Through the lobby windows, I can see him talking to the receptionist, then heading for the elevators. I wait another hour, but he doesn't come back out, probably settling in for a normal day at the office, pretending to be the successful, professional man everyone thinks he is. At 11 o'clock, I drive to the auto shop and try to focus on work, but I keep thinking about what I saw at the hotel. Mike was with another woman this morning, just hours after Lila spent the night worrying about their relationship. Either he's cheating on my wife the same way he cheated on me, or the woman at the hotel is part of some larger scheme I don't understand yet. Around noon, my phone rings. It's Lila. "I called that number you gave me," she says without preamble. "And?" "Tracy Velasquez says a lot of things about Mike. Some of them might even be true." "But you don't believe her." "I believe she's a bitter ex-girlfriend who's trying to cause trouble." "What did she tell you?" "She told me about his collection. She told me he targets married women. She told me he bragged about breaking up marriages." "And?" "And even if all of that is true, it doesn't change the fact that I have feelings for him." "Feelings for a man who's using you as entertainment?" "Feelings for a man who makes me feel alive for the first time in years." "Lila, I saw him this morning." There's a pause. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I followed him to the Marriott. He was there with another woman." "That's impossible. He had a breakfast meeting with a client. Dark hair, late 20s, red Lexus, expensive clothes. They went into the hotel together and came out arguing 20 minutes later." "You're lying." "I have it on video." The silence stretches so long, I think she might have hung up. "Send it to me," she finally says. "Are you sure you want to see it?" "Send it to me." I text her the video and wait. 5 minutes later, my phone rings again. "There has to be an explanation," she says, but her voice sounds shaky. "I'm sure there is. Why don't you ask Mike what it is?" "I will." "Good. And while you're at it, ask him about the collection Tracy mentioned. Ask him about the other married women. Ask him what his long-term plans are for your relationship." "Jack, ask him, Lila. Ask him directly, and pay attention to how he answers." I hang up and get back to work, but my mind is racing. The trap is set now. Either Mike will tell Lila the truth about who he really is, or he'll lie to her face and she'll have to decide whether to believe him or believe the evidence. Either way, the game has changed. At 6 o'clock, I close up the shop and drive home. Lila's car isn't in the driveway, which isn't surprising. She's probably confronting Mike right now, demanding explanations. Jessica's car is there, though, which means I have an opportunity to talk to her alone. I find her in the living room, studying for some college exam with textbooks spread across the coffee table. "Hey, Jess, how was your day?" She looks up suspiciously. "Fine. Why?" "Just asking. We don't talk much anymore." "We don't talk much because every conversation turns into you complaining about Mom or trying to make me take sides." "Is that what you think I'm doing? Isn't it?" I sit down in the chair across from her. "What if I told you I don't want you to take sides? What if I told you I just want you to see the situation clearly?" "I see it clearly enough. You and Mom aren't happy together. She found someone who makes her happy. You're angry about it." "What if I told you that Mike Patterson has done this same thing to at least a dozen other families?" "I'd say you're making stuff up to try to turn me against him." "What if I could prove it?" She closes her textbook and looks at me directly. "Dad, even if Mike is some kind of serial homewrecker, it doesn't change the basic facts. You and Mom have problems that have nothing to do with him." "You're right about that. So why can't you just let her go? Why can't you just accept that sometimes marriages don't work out?" "Because she never gave our marriage a real chance to work out. She gave up on us and started looking for someone else without ever telling me what was wrong or what she needed." "Maybe she tried to tell you and you didn't listen. Maybe. Or maybe she decided it was easier to find someone new than to do the hard work of fixing what we had." Jessica picks up her textbook again. "Either way, it's over now, isn't it? So what's the point of all this drama?" "The point is that actions have consequences. Your mother made choices, and now she gets to live with the results of those choices. What does that mean? It means the truth is going to come out. About Mike, about your mother, about all of it. And when it does, everyone in this family is going to have to decide who they really are and what they really stand for." She stares at me for a moment. "You're scaring me, Dad." "I'm not trying to scare you, Jess. I'm trying to prepare you." "For what?" "For the moment when you realize that the people you've been defending aren't who you thought they were." Before she can respond, we hear Lila's car in the driveway. A few minutes later, she comes through the front door looking like she's been crying. "How did your conversation with Mike go?" I ask. She glances at Jessica, then back at me. "We need to talk, privately." Jessica gathers up her books. "I'll be upstairs." When we're alone, Lila sits down on the couch and stares at her hands. "Well," I say. "He says the woman in the video is a potential client. He says they were meeting to discuss a possible contract. And you believe him?" "He says Tracy is lying about everything. He says she's been stalking him since he left Chicago, trying to ruin his reputation." "What do you believe, Lila?" She looks up at me, and I can see the confusion and fear in her eyes. I don't know what to believe anymore. Then maybe it's time to start asking better questions. "What kind of questions?" "The kind that will help you figure out whether Mike Patterson actually cares about you or whether you're just his latest conquest." She's quiet for a long time. Finally, she says, "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to test him." "How?" "Tell him you're ready to leave me. Tell him you want to be with him openly, officially. See how he reacts. And if he says yes, then maybe I'm wrong about him. And if he says no, then you'll know exactly what you mean to him." She nods slowly. "And what about us? What about our marriage? What about it? Is there any chance we could work things out?" I look at her sitting there on our couch in our living room, asking me if we can save a marriage she's been betraying for months. Part of me wants to say yes. Part of me wants to forgive her and try to rebuild what we had. But a bigger part of me remembers the messages I read, the lies she told, the way she and Jessica looked at me like I was pathetic for not knowing what was happening in my own house. "I don't know," I tell her. "Ask me again when you figure out who you really are and what you really want." "That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair?" "Jack, fair would have been you talking to me about your unhappiness before you started looking for someone else. Fair would have been you being honest with our daughter instead of letting her think I'm the villain in this story. Fair would have been you treating me with enough respect to end our marriage before you started a new relationship. I know I made mistakes. You made choices, Lila, and choices have consequences." She stands up. "So what happens now? Now you decide what you want your life to look like, and then you live with whatever you choose." After she goes upstairs, I sit alone in the living room and think about what comes next. The trap is set, the players are in position, and the truth is starting to emerge. Tomorrow, we'll see who's been lying and who's been telling the truth. Tomorrow, everyone gets exactly what they deserve. I wake up at 4 in the morning with a plan so clear and complete, it's like someone else put it in my head while I was sleeping. Today is the day everything changes. Lila's already gone when I get downstairs, probably meeting Mike for coffee before work to discuss their situation. Jessica is still asleep, which gives me time to make some calls. My first call is to Ray. "It's happening today," I tell him. "You sure you're ready for this?" "I've never been more ready for anything in my life. What do you need from me?" "I need you to make sure Mike Patterson comes to the gym tonight. Tell him you want to discuss a potential sponsorship deal or something. Make it sound legitimate." "And then?" "Then we have a conversation about truth and consequences." My second call is to Tommy Brennan. "I need you to draw up separation papers," I tell him. "You've decided to file for divorce?" "I've decided to give Lila exactly what she says she wants. If she wants to be with Mike Patterson, she can be with Mike Patterson. But she can't be married to me at the same time." "Jack, are you sure about this? Once you file separation papers, it's going to be very difficult to—" "I'm sure, Tommy. Have them ready by this afternoon." My third call is to Mrs. Henderson, whose Buick I finished fixing yesterday. "Mrs. Henderson, it's Jack Morrison. Your car's ready, but I was wondering if you could do me a small favor." "Of course, dear. What do you need?" "I need you to call Lila at work this morning and ask to speak with Mike Patterson about a potential PR contract for your husband's accounting firm." "But my husband's been retired for 10 years. "Mike doesn't know that. Just see what he says when you describe the kind of work you need done. I'll explain everything later." Mrs. Henderson agrees, bless her heart. She's been married for 53 years, and she understands that sometimes a man needs to protect his family from people who would hurt them. By 7 o'clock, I'm at the auto shop, but I'm not working on cars. I'm setting up a video camera in the office, angled so it captures the entire room. If tonight goes the way I think it will, I want everything on record. At 9 o'clock, Mrs. Henderson calls me back. "I talked to that Mike Patterson," she says, and her voice is cold with disapproval. "What did he say?" "He was very smooth, very professional. Said he'd be happy to meet with me to discuss my husband's needs. But when I mentioned that the contract would be worth about $50,000, his whole tone changed." "How so?" "He got very interested very quickly. Started asking about timeline and budget and whether we'd worked with PR firms before. Then he asked if I'd be available to meet this afternoon." "Did you set up a meeting?" "I told him I'd call him back. But Jack, that man is not interested in helping my husband's business. He's interested in a $50,000 contract that doesn't exist." "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. You've been very helpful." "Is he the one who's been carrying on with Lila?" "Yes, ma'am." "Well, he's got another thing coming if he thinks he can treat good people like that. You let me know if you need anything else." At 10:30, Lila calls me. "I talked to Mike about what you said," she begins. "And?" "He wants to take things slow. He says rushing into anything would be a mistake." "What does taking things slow mean?" "It means we're going to keep seeing each other quietly for a while longer, until we're both sure about what we want." "How convenient for him." "What does that mean?" "It means he gets to keep you as his secret girlfriend while he looks for other opportunities, like Mrs. Henderson's $50,000 PR contract, for instance." There's a pause. "What are you talking about?" "Ask Mike about his meeting this afternoon with Mrs. Henderson. Ask him about the accounting firm contract he's so excited about." "How do you know about that?" "Because I arranged it. Mrs. Henderson's husband has been retired for 10 years, Lila. There is no accounting firm. There is no contract." "But Mike doesn't know that." "You set him up?" "I gave him an opportunity to show you who he really is, just like I'm giving you an opportunity to show me who you really are." "What does that mean?" "It means you have a choice to make. You can keep lying to yourself about what Mike Patterson wants from you, or you can open your eyes and see the truth. And what about us? What about our marriage? Our marriage ended the day you decided to start sleeping with someone else. The only question now is whether we end it quietly or publicly." "Jack, please, can't we try to work things out? Can we? Can you honestly tell me you're willing to cut all contact with Mike and commit to rebuilding our relationship?" She's quiet for a long time. "I don't know if I can do that." "Then you have your answer." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make sure everyone understands exactly what happened here. Mike Patterson came to our town, targeted our marriage, and destroyed our family for his own entertainment. You chose to help him do it." "That's not what happened." "Isn't it? Then prove it. Tell Mike you're done with the secret meetings and the lies. Tell him you want to be with him openly and officially. See what he says. And if he says no, then you'll know I was right about him all along. After I hang up with Lila, I spend the rest of the morning putting the final pieces of my plan in place. I call Tracy Velasquez in Chicago and ask her to send me copies of everything she has about Mike's pattern of behavior. I call the business journal that wrote about the personnel changes at Mike's previous employer and ask for more details about what happened there. By noon, I have a complete picture of who Mike Patterson really is and what he's been doing. He's not just a man having an affair. He's a predator who targets vulnerable marriages, manipulates women into betraying their families, and then moves on when he gets bored or when the situation becomes complicated. Lila is just his latest victim, but she's also a willing participant who chose deception over honesty, excitement over commitment, and her own desires over her family's well-being. At 2 o'clock, Jessica comes by the shop. "Mom called me," she says. "She's really upset?" I imagine she is. She says you're trying to destroy her relationship with Mike. I'm trying to show her what her relationship with Mike really is. Which is what? A lie. Mike Patterson doesn't care about your mother, Jess. She's just entertainment for him. That's not true, isn't it? Ask yourself this. If Mike really cared about her, why would he want to keep their relationship secret? Why wouldn't he want to be with her openly? Because it's complicated. Because of the divorce and everything. What divorce? Your mother and I aren't divorced. We're not even separated. She's just having an affair with a man who's convinced her that her marriage doesn't matter. Jessica crosses her arms. Maybe her marriage doesn't matter. Maybe you two are wrong for each other, and everyone can see it except you. Maybe we are wrong for each other, but that doesn't justify lying and cheating and involving you in the deception. I'm not involved in anything. You've been taking their side from the beginning. You've been making me feel like the villain for being hurt that my wife is sleeping with someone else. Because you are acting like a villain. You're trying to control Mom and manipulate her, and I'm trying to protect her from a man who's going to hurt her, just like I'm trying to protect you from making choices you'll regret later. What choices? The choice to support someone who's lying to you. The choice to blame me for problems I didn't create. The choice to believe that betrayal and deception are acceptable as long as they make someone happy. She stares at me for a moment. You really think Mike is just using Mom? I know he is, and tonight you're going to know it too. What's happening tonight? The truth is coming out, all of it, and everyone in this family is going to have to decide what they believe and who they want to be. At 6 o'clock, I close the shop and head home. Lila's car is in the driveway, which surprises me. I expected her to be with Mike, planning their next move. I find her in the kitchen, sitting at the table with a glass of wine and a stack of papers. What are those? I ask. Separation papers. I picked them up from Tommy Brennan's office this afternoon. And I don't know if I can sign them. Why not? Because once I sign them, it's real. Our marriage is really over. Our marriage has been over for months, Lila. You just didn't bother to tell me. She looks up at me with tears in her eyes. I met with Mike this afternoon about Mrs. Henderson's contract. How did that go? He was very excited about it, very interested in the money. He spent an hour talking about how a contract like that could help establish his reputation here. And when I told him there was no contract, that it was just a test you set up, he got angry, really angry. What did he say? He said you were trying to sabotage our relationship. He said you were jealous and vindictive and I shouldn't let you manipulate me. What did you say? I asked him about Tracy Velasquez, about the other women, about whether he was serious about wanting a future with me. And? He said Tracy was lying. He said there were no other women. He said he loved me and wanted to be with me. But when I asked him when we could stop sneaking around and be together openly, he said it was too soon. He said we needed to be patient. How patient? He wouldn't give me a timeline. He just kept saying we had to be careful, that rushing things would be a mistake. I sit down across from her at the table. What do you think that means? I think it means you were right about him. And how does that make you feel? Stupid. Used. Embarrassed. She wipes her eyes. I thought he really cared about me. I thought I meant something to him. You did mean something to him. You meant victory. You meant proof that he could take whatever he wanted. I've been such a fool. Yes, you have. But that doesn't change what you did to our marriage. She looks at the separation papers. Do you want me to sign these? I want you to do whatever you think is right. What if I don't sign them? What if I end things with Mike and we try to work things out? Then we try to work things out. But understand that it's going to be very difficult. Trust doesn't come back easily once it's broken. I know. And understand that things can't go back to the way they were before. Too much has happened. I know that too. We sit in silence for a while, both of us thinking about the choices that led us to this moment. Finally, Lila picks up a pen. I need to ask you something first. What? Do you still love me? The question hangs in the air between us. It's the most important question either of us has asked in months. I love the woman I married, I tell her. I'm not sure if that woman still exists. She does. She's just been lost for a while. Then maybe she can find her way back. Lila sets down the pen without signing the papers. I want to try, Jack. I want to try to fix this. It's going to take time. I know. And it's going to take complete honesty from both of us. I know. And you have to end things with Mike completely. No contact, no explanations, no closure conversations. I already did, this afternoon after our meeting about the fake contract. How did he take it? Not well. He said I was making a mistake. He said I'd regret choosing you over him. Maybe you will regret it. Maybe, but I'd regret not trying even more. Just then, my phone rings. It's Ray. Mike Patterson is here, he says. You coming? I look at Lila. I have to go take care of something. What? I have to have a conversation with Mike about consequences. Jack, don't do anything stupid. I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm just going to make sure he understands that his time in our town is over. What does that mean? It means Mike Patterson is about to learn what happens when you mess with the wrong family. I head for the door, then turn back. Lila? Yes? When I get back, we're going to start over. Clean slate, complete honesty, no secrets. Okay. And if you ever lie to me again about anything, we're done. No second chances, no forgiveness, no working things out. I understand. Good. Because the woman I married was someone I could trust. If you want to be her again, trust is where it starts. I leave her sitting at the kitchen table with the unsigned separation papers and head to Ray's gym for the final confrontation. It's time to end this once and for all. The gym is closed to regular customers, but the lights are on, and I can see Mike's BMW in the parking lot. Ray meets me at the door. He's in the office, Ray says. Thinks we're going to discuss him sponsoring some local boxing matches. Is the camera set up? Everything's ready. You sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. I walk into the office where Mike Patterson is sitting across from Ray's desk, looking confident and relaxed. He's wearing an expensive suit and his usual smug expression. Jack, he says when he sees me, I didn't expect to see you here. I bet you didn't. Ray was just telling me about some sponsorship opportunities. Sounds like something that could be good for my business. Your business is over, Mike. His smile falters slightly. What does that mean? It means I know who you really are and what you've been doing. It means your time in this town is finished. I don't know what you're talking about. I sit down in the chair next to him. Tracy Velasquez sends her regards. So do Jennifer Martinez from Milwaukee, Sarah Thompson from Minneapolis, and about 8 other women whose marriages you destroyed. Now he looks genuinely worried. I don't know what lies people have been telling you. They're not lies, Mike. I've got documentation. Photos, messages, testimony from your victims. I know about your collection of trophies. I know about your pattern of targeting married women. I know about the real reason you left Chicago. You don't know anything. I know you're a predator who gets off on breaking up families. I know you specifically target blue-collar men because you think we're too stupid to figure out what you're doing. That's ridiculous. Is it? Then explain why you told Lila she deserved better than a small-town mechanic. Explain why you bragged to Tracy about how easy it was to steal wives from men like me. Mike stands up. I don't have to listen to this. Yes, you do, because if you try to leave, I'm going to make sure everyone in this town knows exactly who you are and what you've been doing. You can't prove anything. I can prove everything, and I will, unless you do exactly what I tell you to do. Which is what? You're going to resign from Hartwell Associates. You're going to leave town, and you're never going to contact my wife or my daughter again. And if I don't, then I'm going to destroy you the same way you tried to destroy my family. Mike tries to look defiant, but I can see the fear in his eyes. He knows I have him. You can't make me do anything, he says. Can't I? Let me tell you what's going to happen if you don't leave town voluntarily. First, I'm going to send all the evidence I've gathered to your boss at Hartwell Associates. Then, I'm going to send it to every other PR firm in the state. Then, I'm going to post it online where everyone can see it. That's harassment. That's public service. I'm going to make sure every married couple in America knows to watch out for Mike Patterson. You're bluffing. Am I? Ray, show him the video. Ray turns his computer screen around so Mike can see it. It's the footage I took of him at the Marriott with the other woman. Who was she, Mike? Another married woman? Another potential victim? Mike's face goes white. That was a business meeting. Sure it was. Just like all your meetings with Lila were business meetings. You don't understand the situation. I understand it perfectly. You're a predator and a liar, and your time is up. Mike sits back down, looking defeated. What do you want? I want you gone. Tomorrow. Pack your things, quit your job, and leave town. I can't just quit my job. I have obligations. You should have thought about that before you decided to destroy my marriage. I didn't destroy anything. Your marriage was already broken. Maybe it was, but that gave you no right to interfere. That gave you no right to manipulate my wife and turn my daughter against me. I never turned Jessica against you. Didn't you? She thinks you're some kind of hero for rescuing her mother from her disappointing father. That's not my fault. Everything that's happened is your fault. You came to this town looking for victims, and you found them. But now you've found something else. Which is what? You've found someone who fights back. Mike stares at me for a long moment. Fine, I'll leave, but this isn't over. Yes, it is. And if you ever come back, if you ever contact anyone in my family, if you ever try to cause trouble for us in any way, I will make sure the whole world knows what kind of man you really are. You can't watch me forever. I don't have to, because you're a coward, Mike. You only pick on people you think won't fight back. Well, I'm fighting back, and now you know what that feels like. Mike stands up and heads for the door. This is harassment. This is justice. After he leaves, Ray and I sit in the office reviewing the video footage. Think he'll actually leave town? Ray asks. Oh, he'll leave. Men like Mike Patterson are bullies, and bullies always back down when someone stands up to them. What about Lila? You think she'll really try to work things out? I don't know. But for the first time in months, we're going to be honest with each other about what we want and what we're willing to do to get it. And Jessica? Jessica's going to learn that actions have consequences, and that sometimes the people you trust aren't who you think they are. I drive home feeling lighter than I have in months. The truth is out, the threat is neutralized, and everyone in my family finally understands what really happened here. When I walk into the kitchen, Lila is still sitting at the table. The separation papers are still unsigned. How did it go? She asks. Mike Patterson will be leaving town tomorrow. Did you threaten him? I educated him about the consequences of his choices. She nods. Good. Where's Jessica? Upstairs. She's been thinking about everything you said this afternoon. And I think she's starting to understand that Mike wasn't the person she thought he was. What about you? Do you understand who he really was? Yes, and I understand who I became when I was with him. Which was? Someone I don't want to be anymore. I sit down across from her. So what happens now? Now we see if we can remember how to be married to each other. It's not going to be easy. I know. And it's not going to be the same as it was before. I know that too. But maybe it can be better. Maybe. She picks up the separation papers and tears them in half. I want to try, Jack. I want to try to be the woman you married again. And I want to try to be the man who deserved her. We sit there looking at each other across the kitchen table where we've shared thousands of meals and conversations over the past 20 years. For the first time in months, I feel like I'm looking at my wife instead of a stranger. So, she says, where do we start? We start with the truth, all of it. No more secrets, no more lies, no more pretending everything's fine when it's not. Okay. And we start with forgiveness. You're going to have to forgive me for not paying attention to what you needed. I'm going to have to forgive you for choosing deception over honesty. Can you do that? I don't know yet, but I'm willing to try. So am I. Just then, Jessica comes downstairs. She looks like she's been crying. I owe you an apology, Dad, she says. For what? For not believing you about Mike, for taking Mom's side without knowing all the facts, for making you feel like you were the problem. You were protecting your mother, I understand that. But I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Apology accepted. She sits down at the table with us. So what happens now? Are you guys getting divorced? We're going to try to work things out, Lila says. Really? Really. Jessica looks back and forth between us. What about Mike? Mike is leaving town, I say, and he's never coming back. Good. I never really liked him anyway. Lila and I both look at her in surprise. Then why did you defend him? Lila asks. Because I thought he made you happy, and I wanted you to be happy, even if it meant Dad got hurt. And now? Now I understand that happiness built on lies doesn't last, And I understand that sometimes the people who really love you are the ones who tell you the truth, even when it hurts. We sit there together as a family for the first time in months. There's still a lot of work to do, a lot of trust to rebuild, a lot of conversations to have. But for the first time since this whole mess started, I believe we might actually make it through. The truth came out. Justice was served. And everyone learned that actions have consequences. Mike Patterson is gone, probably already packing his things and planning his escape to whatever town he'll target next. But he won't find any easy victims there, because I'm going to make sure his reputation follows him wherever he goes. Lila is sitting across from me, looking like the woman I married instead of the stranger she became. She's going to have to earn back my trust, and I'm going to have to learn how to give it to her again. Jessica is finally seeing the situation clearly, understanding that loyalty means supporting what's right, not just supporting what feels good. And me? I'm no longer the man who lets other people define his worth or determine his fate. I'm the man who fights for his family, who stands up to bullies, who makes sure the truth comes out no matter how much it hurts. The game is over. And for once, the good guys won.